Ever since Russia's illegal invasion of Ukraine in February 2022, Ukraine has had to drastically adapt its military strategy in order to survive and keep up with the times. As a result of this, hundreds of years of military strategy are rapidly becoming obsolete. I'm Arthur Brook, and today I'll be explaining what these tactical and political developments have looked like over the past month, and what this could mean for Ukraine in the future. As of this month, the war in Ukraine has gone on for longer than World War I, and as such, I'm sure there is a lot of information out there, both correct and incorrect, which I intend to clear up so you have the accurate information. Today, I will be going over what has happened in June, starting with one of the most major developments, drone warfare. One of the most major developments in drone warfare in particular would be the Firepoint 1 drone, which has been in commission for some time, but is only now beginning to go to its full potential recently, with strikes across Russia. It has a range of 1,600 kilometers and can carry a 100-kilogram payload, so it is quite capable of destroying facilities far into Russian territory. This is compounded even further by the presence of the Flamingo cruise missile, the FP5, which has a range of 3,000 kilometers and can carry a 1,000-kilogram payload. These are highly effective in destroying Russian assets, both far and near, with extreme precision and power. These have specifically been used in destroying Russian production facilities across the region, especially oil refineries and rocket factories. These oil refineries have been targeted specifically due to the effort in how Russia is an oil state in particular, and as such, they require largely on their oil exports. However, by targeting the oil, you are now able to target the Russian economy, which is going into a downfall as a result of this. This also seriously harms the Russian war machine, which relies on this oil to fuel their missiles, their tanks, to attack Ukraine. However, there is another effect to this attack, to destroying these oil refineries: the psychological advantage. The Russian propaganda is based around the principle that it has to convince its people that there is no war. It has to convince the people that it's all some fabrication. They talk about a special military operation, but they don't talk about a full-fledged war that they might or might not be losing. That's because it is an inconvenient story for them. However, lately, people in Russia are beginning to realize that something is off as they see smoke clouds billowing over their cities, an economy in shambles, gas prices raising into the sky. They are beginning to realize that there is most definitively a war going on when you see clouds of smoke over your own city. This has been further compounded with specific strikes in regions such as St. Petersburg and Moscow in the most notable events. Specifically, to initiate, we will discuss the attack on St. Petersburg on 3rd of June. This has been seen to be, this was during Putin's St. Petersburg Economic Forum. This was Putin's chance to show a good face for Russia, to show them as the economic powerhouse they once were. He wants to show that Russia is still relevant politically. That's the purpose of the St. Petersburg Economic Forum. But, mere hours after Putin spoke at the forum, Ukrainian drones struck and destroyed the oil terminal outside of town. You can see smoke clouds billowing over the city as they are having this meeting over how powerful Russia is. This is not a good face for Putin. This is debilitating politically. This was even compounded even further by the June 18 strikes on Moscow itself, in which over 200 Ukrainian drones flew towards Moscow. Some were intercepted, sure, but even more struck effectively. Some of them struck, and these ones who struck, they destroyed critical terminals, they destroyed refineries, they destroyed machinery. They destroyed things that were very important to the war effort. This was a very critical thing, and it's not just because they destroyed a refinery, though that is important. What is even more important than destroying the refinery is the idea that they destroyed the trust of the people. People in Moscow could see clouds of smoke over their own city. Smoke of Russian war machines, like the smoke of the Russian refineries, going up in flames. This is not what Putin wants to tell his people, but this is what his people are going to see because, well, this is war. This has been said by Zelensky to be in retaliation to the destruction of the Lavra Monastery. This was a historical church, thousands of years old, which was established a long time ago in Kiev. It is widely considered to be the cultural and the religious heart of Ukraine. It is so important culturally, and yet Russia destroyed it. This was a UNESCO World Heritage Site. This should not have been justified in any way whatsoever. And yet, somehow it was, because that's how the Russian machine works. They will destroy civilian facilities, and they will claim it is military. They will claim there is a reasoning for it. These unjustified efforts have so far resulted in Zelensky's initiation of the 40-day operation. The purpose of the 40-day operation is to send drone warfare, destroying Russian facilities across the country, refineries, production, etc. This is all about destroying damaging their military infrastructure, of course, destroying their logistics, but more importantly, it's about pressuring the Russian government into discussing terms. It's about pressuring them, even if they won't listen. The Putin's administration is, by some metrics, far too gone to negotiate on this, but it may still pressure the people into realizing there is something wrong. They have not realized when they were dragged off to die in Ukraine, but maybe they'll realize when they're dying at home. It's a tragic truth, really. It's horrible that they have to be struck, and Ukraine is doing its best to target military facilities, but this is the war that Russia brought on itself. This is the action they brought about. Putin, in response to this, has been forced to make a statement on this. Quite a rare event, because Putin really prefers to not discuss these things. Putin prefers to say that there is a special military operation that should have been over a long time ago. But the hardest part about the 3-day special military operation is the first 4 years of it. So, Putin recently made an announcement saying that, yes, his economy is going downhill. Yes, gas prices are rising. And no, he just says it is not critical, and it is not related to the war. Furthermore, Ukraine's 40-day operation has also achieved critical success in Crimea. Ever since the illegal annexation of Crimea in 2014, Ukraine has been endeavoring to cut it off from Russia in order to liberate it. This has been so far done largely by drone warfare in the 40-day operation. The Kerch Strait Bridge, which is the main method of connection between Crimea and Russia, and also the main method of connecting it by soldiers, civilians, and oil, has been struck multiple times in the war, and lately, Ukrainian drones have been targeting the regions around it. Specifically, they have been striking oil refineries they've struck oil trucks that would attempt to go around it. They damage the roads, they damage the railways, and then when the oil trucks come in, they destroy them. Efficiently and quickly. This is what needs to be done in order to win the war. The best efforts toward this are going quite effectively, and so far, oil has been completely cut off in Crimea. All that remains now is small amounts of gas for government officials, or given out in what is essentially lotteries by government QR codes on websites. This is, of course, very unfortunate for people who are trapped in Crimea currently. Though to be clear, Crimea is and always was, an active military combat zone since it was illegally and militarily annexed. So any Russian civilians who chose to go there for a holiday clearly did so as a political stance and aware of what they were doing. Furthermore, there's been a bit of a political situation in Belarus lately, with Lukashenko. The dictator Lukashenko of Belarus has so far been a trusted ally of Russia, especially with Russia placing these devices in his territory to detect where his Russian drones are going to hit. These guide Shahed drones onto Ukrainian civilian targets. Now, in response to this, Zelensky has delivered an ultimatum in which he told Lukashenko to shut off the systems, or he would shut them off by drones. In response to this, Lukashenko did, in fact, shut them off, not wanting to accept the ultimatum and risk the destruction of its facilities. Because Belarus, it's not an economically powerful state, apart from the oil refineries. It counts on the oil refineries for its economy. And so, if the oil refineries were to be destroyed, this would prove to be an unfortunate effect for him, and he is not willing to risk that in his war. This has really led to some rise in tensions between Lukashenko and Putin to an extent. Putin did not support the move, of course, and Lukashenko has been in communications with Chinese authorities as of late, possibly looking for a way out of his current situation, though as of now, his situation does seem to be somewhat stable with Putin, even as he has disabled the systems. We'll stay tuned for future updates on this in the future. Well, that's all in this update. That's all that's happened this month. Well, there's more, of course, but that's the essentials of what happened. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you found it productive. And I've been Arthur Brook. Make sure to stand with Ukraine. Okay, I think that was okay.
I thought it was great. It's really good. I'm impressed. Very natural. Natural and smooth. Smooth transitions.
Yeah.
Not stressed. Smoothing over your mistakes or imperfections as you go along. That's really what's most important.
Yeah. 17-minute videos. It's pretty solid.